Welcome to Witness Wednesday here on the Walk Boldly with Jesus podcast. I'm your host, Katherine Duggan. However, each Wednesday, I will have a guest give their witness of how God is working in their lives. Hearing how God is working in other people's lives shows us how deeply He cares for each one of us individually. Listening to these experiences will help your faith grow. I am so blessed to be able to share these with you. Let's get started. Today's Witness Wednesdays has two stories I read on Facebook. They are stories of people giving of themselves when they didn't need to. The first one starts with one young girl's selfless acts and ends with a whole lot of people helping. The next one is about a man who made a lot of mistakes and yet at the end of his life does something remarkable for a little girl he doesn't even know. I pray that when you hear them, you can see God moving in the world. I pray that when you hear them, you can see that yes, there are a lot of bad things going on in the world, but there is also a lot of good. We need to focus more on the good. Hi, my name is Walter. I'm 69. I'm the night custodian at Lincoln Middle School. Been mopping these halls for 11 years. Most folks don't even know my name. I'm just the janitor guy who empties trashes and fixes broken lockers. But I notice things. Like locker 247, every morning I'd find food wrappers stuffed in the vents, candy bars, chip bags, cracker boxes. At first, I thought it was just messy kids. Then I realized someone was hiding food. One night I stayed late. Around 8 p.m., I heard the side door creak. A girl, maybe 13, sneaked in with a backpack, went straight to locker 247, stuffed it with grocery bags, and then left quickly. The next morning, the food was gone. I didn't report it. Instead, I watched. For 2 weeks, the same pattern. She stocked it at night. By morning, empty. Finally, I left a note in the locker. "You're not in trouble. I just want to help. Walter, the custodian." The next day, she came to my supply closet, terrified. "Please don't tell anyone," she begged. Her name was Sarah. She had been sneaking food to 3 younger kids, brothers, whose dad worked double shifts and forgot to buy groceries. "They're too embarrassed to ask anyone," she whispered. "So I used my lunch money and borrow from my mom's pantry." My heart shattered. "What if," I said slowly, "locker 247 just had food in it and nobody asked questions?" Her eyes went wide. I started small. Spent $30 of my paycheck on peanut butter, bread, juice boxes, and left it in the locker overnight. By morning, gone. So I added more. Granola bars, apples, crackers. Then something unexpected. I found money taped inside the locker door. $5 and a note. "I'm a teacher. I know what you're doing. Here's for more food." Then $20 from someone else. "My kid graduated from Lincoln. This school saved him. Keep going." Within a month, other staff knew. The nurse donated. The librarian brought canned soup. The gym teacher left his Costco card. "Buy in bulk," he said. "I'll cover it." Locker 247 became legendary, but quiet. No announcement, no assemblies, just there. A place where hungry kids could take what they needed without shame. Sarah graduated last year, came back to see me during finals week. "Walter, I'm studying social work now," she said. "Because of you, you taught me something. Hunger hides in plain sight, but so does kindness." She handed me a photo. Locker 247, but at a different school, across town. "My college volunteer project," she smiled. "We're putting them everywhere." I cried in my supply closet that night, 69 years old, crying over a locker. Now, 17 schools in our county have them. They call it the 247 Project. Stock the locker, ask no questions, feed the invisible kids. I'm just a janitor. I mop floors and unclog toilets. But I learned this. Sometimes the most powerful things you can do is notice and then quietly make space for dignity. So look around. At school, your work. Someone's hiding their hunger, their struggle, their shame. Leave something behind. Food, money, hope. Locker 247 isn't just metal and paint. It's proof that caring doesn't need permission, just action. And it starts with seeing what everyone else walks past. Let this story reach more hearts. And it said at the end of the story, follow us, Astonishing, by Mary Nelson. The next is called The Death Row Donor. At County General Hospital, 6-year-old Maya's kidneys were failing. 9 months on the transplant list, and her rare blood type meant no matches. Her tiny body was shutting down. 200 miles away, Marcus, a number, not a name anymore, sat in a death row cell. 20 years he'd been waiting there for an execution date for a crime that destroyed lives, including his own. In his cell, he kept one possession, a faded photo of his daughter, who died at 6 of a sudden illness. That was 25 years ago, before everything fell apart. When the prison chaplain mentioned a public plea for Maya's rare blood type, Marcus recognized it immediately, the same type he and his daughter shared. He volunteered for testing, knowing it wouldn't change his fate. The prison board suspected manipulation. The media called it a publicity stunt. He was a perfect match. After brutal legal battles, officials approved the donation as his final act. Yesterday, handcuffed and flanked by guards in his green jumpsuit, they brought him to meet Maya before surgery. The little girl, told only that this man was her helper, looked up at him with those wide, trusting eyes. "I want to give him a hug," she whispered. "Ma'am, that's not," a guard started, hand moving towards his weapon. But Maya, despite her weakness, slid off the bed and wrapped her arms around the kneeling inmate's neck. Marcus, untouched by kindness for 2 decades, closed his eyes. His hands cuffed, rose gently to hold her back. "You don't gotta thank me, little one," he said, voice breaking. "Just get better, all right?" And at the end of this, it said, "Follow us, Nerfox." I hear people saying all the time that this world is a terrible place. There are definitely terrible things happening all around the world. There are also beautiful things happening. Let's not overlook the good things, no matter how small they are. Let's look for more stories like these, and then let that be the stories we're spreading. Instead of giving in to the fear-mongering, let's spread the good news. Will you join me in that today? We have all seen God working in our lives. However, we might not all be aware it is God who is working in our lives. This is why it's so important we start talking about it more. The more we share our experiences, the more people understand how God works and how much He truly loves us. If you would be willing to share any of your experiences of how God has worked in your life, please email me at Catherine@findingtruenorthcoaching.com. CATHERINE @findingtruenorthcoaching.com. Or you can click on the link below. It won't take up much of your time, and your story could be just the story someone needs to hear today. Please prayerfully consider sharing your story. Everyone has one, and the world needs to hear them. I look forward to spending time with you again tomorrow. Remember, Jesus loves you, and so do I. I will have another witness for you next Wednesday. Have a blessed day.